Yeah, with Ab Fab, it's it's a very funny show, but it's a really, really fucked up show as well, right? So that family is really the family itself is so dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And your character, even though you're the sort of mother in a way in the relationship, is increasing as it goes on. It just becomes clear how Saffy's. It's quite a dramatic role, right? Because she's in a lot of trouble, really, as a human being, as a result of this.
She's completely screwed up,
Yeah.
and I think I always said it's very important. Situation comedy is about the situation that people are in.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of the scenes in the kitchen worked really well, because that's the hub, that's the family home, and it was very important for me that Saffy never went and got therapy. And Jennifer was like, "Oh yeah, what you mean? She actually likes it. She's getting something out of this." Because Saffy had quite a nice life, really.
Yeah.
She was living off her mum. That it was highly dysfunctional. It had to remain that way because a lot of families are very dysfunctional and don't work on themselves and do smash through each other's boundaries.
Yeah.
And they thrive off that toxicity. And if you were to get any therapy, well, you either go off and live your own life or you don't survive. So it was very important that Saffy always, in my mind, Saffy was pretty toxic.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that Saffy is this long-suffering, straight-laced character, but that is not my subtext at all.
No, well, and
she wanted to be loved by her mum,
Yeah.
no doubt, and she did not like Patsy because Patsy was incredibly cruel to her. But she had her motives,
Yeah.
and she did get her kicks out of winding Adina up.
Yeah.
And
she could have left. She was an adult for most of it. Most of the
well,
thing went on for 20 or 30
exactly,
years.
And that's why
Yeah.
I insisted that she had to remain,
Yeah.
not going out and getting herself together, because she needed, that nice life.
Yeah.
Not even if it was a conscious thing,
Yeah. No, it's really, it's interesting, and it's interesting how, that you have to take the comedy that seriously. I think that to make it work, it has to have that darkness behind it, which I don't think most people would pick up consciously on, right? I think subconsciously you go, yeah, this is a fucked up thing, but we're really just enjoying
absolutely,
the madness of it.
I think in the first few episodes in the first series, it was flowing along, and then once you start to understand, get hold of your character and get some meat on it, for want of a better term. If you're given a line, I would say, but why would I say that? That just is not Saffy. On the second series, the costume designer came up with a rail of clothes and said, "These are your clothes for Saffy." And I was like, "I'm not wearing any of those." I went to Jennifer and she said, "Jennifer wants you to wear them." So I went to Jennifer and I said, "They were nice clothes." Whereas now all clothes that Saffy wears are now the thing to wear, so they're not naff anymore. And I went to Jennifer and I said, "Well, why do you want me to wear nice clothes?" And she said, "I just want you to look nice on television." So nice, but...
Well, it was
but I said, that doesn't work for me. I can't play Saffy. I cannot play Saffy in those clothes.
But it's interesting because you were playing, glamorous roles, or with the Linda Day and the Faith in the Future. That was a glamorous character. So it was interesting to take on a role that was, you were deliberately. Someone sent me I can't remember what it was, but it's a Halloween costume, which is Saffy, but it just says "dowdy woman" or something.
Bitch troll from hell.
Right? Yeah, I think it's that. Yeah. And so but that's a bold move to make, I think, as well, isn't it? To sort of deliberately take a character.
The first week I was thinking, what am I going to wear? What am I going to wear? And I just kept thinking tracksuits. And I said, no. And I said, take me to the BBC costume department, which was massive.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
Do you remember it?
Yeah.
Huge rails and rails and rails of, every era of, and I just said, take me to what is Oxfam, because Saffy would go to Oxfam just to annoy her mother. That's, you see where the subtext is there, where the toxicity is.
Yeah.
Did it to annoy her mother. She probably had a whole other wardrobe that Adina didn't know about. Nothing too untoward, but, she did it to irritate her. And so we went down this road and I just picked out corduroys, jumper, shirt. I said, everything, just don't match any of it. And as soon as I climbed into it, it all happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see, it's interesting you're saying, you weren't comfortable with the improvising, you felt you couldn't improvise. But that's you that's informed that character and created that character. That isn't Jennifer. She was trying to put you in different clothes and you've chosen the clothes and you've worked out the relationship. Which again, I think, that's what's interesting about Ab Fab is Jennifer's chosen, and she's a good actor as well, and an actress. But she's, Jane Horrocks, I remembered, was doing all the Mike Leigh films before that. And obviously, both the others, the June and...
the Jays.
Yeah.
Jane and Jane, June, Jennifer, Joanna.
There's too many
Julia.
Jays. I really think with June Whitfield, again, I think you mentioned, I saw you being interviewed by both Richard and Judy and Holly and Phil. So there's not many interviews you've done. And those were obviously
I don't do interviews.
I know, there was some time apart. Richard Madeley
hate them.
Richard Madeley was being quite inappropriate with you.
Was he?
You said he just likes making comments about. You said he said you're very tanned. You went, it's makeup. He said, "Oh, careful putting on so much makeup when you're so young," and all this stuff. It was just like, fuck off, Richard Madeley. You were going off to India. He was a bit too excited about it all. But then you were with Philip Schofield, and you told him you fancied Philip Schofield. Yeah. Philip Schofield.
I said he did the Silver Fox well, and I said I used to fancy him when he was in the broom cupboard.
And, he made a good pretense of fancying you back, Julia. That's all. But so I'm very honoured that you've come and been interviewed here. But I think June Whitfield, out of all those people, when you look at her career, I tried to book her for. I did a radio show called Relativity, and I tried to get her to play my grandma in that, and it was quite near to the end of her life, but she didn't. And sadly, she did. For me, she did. Well, sadly, she died. That's probably the main sadness. The second sadness is that she didn't do it. But she was such an amazing force, that woman. When you look at everything that she did, so to have this incredible cast, and then a bit of improvisation, a bit of what I love about Jennifer is it's a bit like turning up and seeing what happens, isn't it? And like sometimes there's no script, and sometimes there's a bit of a script, and sometimes. She knows where she's going, and sometimes it's let's see what happens, I think, with her. And
she comes in with a structure, and that once we worked our way of working out with each other and we had our characters, what was so wonderful about doing that job was that she allowed us to give our suggestions, and she said, yeah, let's do that. Yes, let's do that. No, my character wouldn't do this. And so it was a collaborative affair. You did feel really, really involved. Whereas in the first series, we were Jane, Joanna, June, and myself were actresses who are given lines and are given a mark. You stand on that mark, and the camera will be there, and you do your lines. And Jennifer was just this free spirit of. Just do whatever you like. Just say whatever you like. I don't know, I'm going to say this to you, and as I walk out the room, just make something up. And once we got over that, and once we started building our characters, I think then Jennifer could write for our characters. And we did spend most of the day laughing.
Good, but that's why this thing is when you look at sitcoms of the last 20 or 30 years. There's, it's right up there, and also it was been going on for all that time. I mean, I don't know if you're ever going to return to it. I'm presuming probably not, but then you've said that every year pretty much it's been on. It's been like this is the last series, isn't it?
Well, I don't. I think Jennifer does. I think I read somewhere a couple of years ago, I think Jennifer might have been doing something at the Edinburgh Festival, doing reading or something, and she said it wouldn't be accepted in this day and age. And I think completely the opposite. Because it wasn't what we used to call politically correct then, and that's why everyone was like, yes, you're saying everything we can't say. And I think Jennifer is intelligent enough to write it in a way where we can say things that need to be said.
Yeah.
Because the cancel culture and the wokeness. I'm not going to go down this route.
But look, you know, I don't
Cancel
think,
me now.
I don't think when you look back at Little Britain, you think, oh, okay, some of that wouldn't fly now. You don't look back. I honestly don't think you look back at Absolutely Fabulous and go, oh God, why did they say that? Because you know why they said it.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
some of Little Britain, I think the things that people complain about, you go, look, no, they were obviously taking the piss out of that. They were trying to take the piss out of that. But it doesn't fly anymore. Whereas I think Ab Fab, they still show it, and it's still absolutely fine. You know, they're not politically correct characters, but that's the point. Neither is David Brent. You know, and
Yeah,
you can
exactly,
Still,
yeah.
You can still show The Office. So it's you know, it's about the heart behind it as much as
Yeah.
anything. So I think it would still fly.